Good morning. I'm Paul Pribbenow, the president of Augsburg University in Minneapolis and a proud member of the Campus Compact Board of Directors, and it's my privilege to launch this morning's important plenary session. Before I start, I want to lift up, as Bobby did yesterday, a couple of all those important anniversaries we were celebrating. We have one auspicious and one not so auspicious celebration today, and one is mine. It was 23 years ago today on this day that I was elected for my first college presidency, and the joke has been on me many times. But the more auspicious, I'm still standing, but the more auspicious is that this is Bobby Lauer's birthday. So we don't have time to sing, but you can, no singing. So I've been reflecting on what it means for all of us gathered here at Compact25 to be called for a moment such as this. Perhaps you too have asked yourself that same question. So let me parse that question in reverse order, such as what I mean by this. We're all keenly aware that this is a moment of significant disruption and chaos aimed at the institutions and values we cherish. Often characterized as woke, elitist, out of touch, and unaccountable, our colleges and universities have been targeted by a new administration in ways we may never have imagined. But I also believe that this is a moment, a blip on the long arc of higher education's role in our democracy. It's a tough moment, to be sure, but we must look to horizons past, present, and future to ground ourselves and to understand what we must do now in this moment to protect and preserve the missions and values we seek to advance. And that means we must embrace our calls in this moment, the idea of a calling or vocation that comes from our faith and ethical traditions and that equips us to embrace the many roles we live out in the world as professionals, surely, but also as parents and children and siblings and citizens and neighbors and activists, roles that often intersect and demand thoughtful balancing of all that we are called to be and do. For me, the response to the question of what it means to be called to a moment such as this must be a moral framework that guides our thoughtful and reflective practice as individuals and as communities of meaning and practice. And I have found important inspiration for my leadership and for this moral imperative for this moment in the mission and work of Campus Compact. Perhaps you've seen, and if you haven't memorized, the Campus Compact mission, which reads that Campus Compact supports, engages, and challenges higher education to realize its public purpose. And it goes on then to talk about how it mobilizes all of us for the important work of addressing the complex social issues in our lives. So I had the privilege to lead the board task force that led to the Compact's 2025-2030 strategic plan, a plan that boldly positions Campus Compact for its commitment to the public purposes of higher education and the distinctive role we can play in strengthening campus community partnerships, supporting our remarkable students in their vocational journeys, and sharing our stories of the impact our colleges and universities have in the communities they serve. In that context, let me say just a few words about that moral imperative for this moment, what I call a democratic social ethic, and how Campus Compact's strategic work supports all of us in our efforts to sustain a just, equitable, and prosperous democracy. Each fall, I give an opening convocation address to our incoming students with the title, "What is Required of You?" And after referencing the Hebrew scriptural injunction from the prophet Micah to act justly, love kindness, and walk humbly with your God, a faith claim that I must leave to our students to work out, I do suggest that there are some things we require of them, and that those three requirements summarize for me a democratic social ethic that may be more relevant than ever for a moment such as this. That first requirement is show up, a claim that is central to Campus Compact's mission to support the work we do on our campuses and in the communities we serve. But as we all know, it can be tough to show up when we are distracted and exhausted and depressed by the scope and scale of the challenges we face. But show up we must. And of course, this is not simply about showing up with our physical presence. Showing up is also sort of a spiritual practice. It's about being present now. It's about being in relationship to each other and our neighbors. It's about accompanying each other on a journey that is both solitary and social. It's about knowing our whereabouts and our neighbors. The famous educational philosopher John Dewey said that genuine education is not preparation for life, it is life itself. And if you believe that, as we do here at Campus Compact, then showing up, being present now, is the key factor in whether or not we are able to create the sort of world we value. Show up, please. The second requirement is pay attention. Simple, yes, but the equally simple fact is that we live in a world full of distractions, and paying attention doesn't come easy. This may be the most important ethical requirement in these times when chaos and confusion reign. Like you, like all of you, I'm on social media, I've got all kinds of devices, I read all kinds of newspapers, I try to lead a wonderful, complex university, I have a family, a life of things that I must pay attention to, and I'm old. And I always say to our students, you are young and you've grown up in a time when multitasking is not an option, it's an expectation. I really can't imagine how they keep it all together. All of you students, I admire you, but I also worry about you. So here I stand asking you to pay attention, find ways, yes, to put away the distractions you can control. But it is more than that, of course, because even when we have put away all of those sources of distraction, it remains our responsibility to figure out what is most important and how we can make what is important the center of our lives. The sociologist Robert Bellah and his associates wrote in The Good Society, democracy means paying attention, by which they mean that psychic energy we use to pay attention is the key to the sort of person we hope to be as individuals and as a society. If we continue to be distracted, our attention and the energy that it requires of us will also be distracted, and the values and people and ideas and causes we should care about and attend to will not get our energy, and we will not become the people we want to be. Pay attention, please. And finally, do the work. A final requirement that follows logically from the first two. If you show up and you learn to pay attention, you will find that there is work that must be done. Some days the work will be assigned to you. We all have jobs and duties that mean there is work we must do. But more and more, on many days the work must be ours to discern and pursue. There will be no one there to tell us what to do. We will need to seize the work that needs to be done. I believe deeply that the institutions that are part of the Campus Compact community reflect the profound truth at the heart of our academic missions, that the work we learn to do on our campuses, in the classroom, on campus, in our neighborhoods, and around the world, is the basis for pursuing the important work to be done in the world, and we all need to do it. There is utility to the education we offer. There is purpose and direction. There is work to be done by educated folks, work we are called to do. Work, I might add, that might just have to do with what the prophet Micah claimed, the work of justice and compassion and humility. Do the work, please. And this is what the democratic social ethic looks like on our campus, as I'm positive it does for most of you. On the ground, on campus, in our neighborhood, and wherever we live and work, I see a reality different from the claims by many who criticize higher education. I see students who see education as a gift that carries with it a responsibility to give back. I see faculty and staff committed to our vision that students receive what we call a three-dimensional education, an education that equips them to make a living, make a life, and build community. And I see alumni and neighbors who care about each other and the world and who are working each and every day to support a just and inclusive democracy. So here is my shorthand version of a democratic social ethic. Show up, pay attention, and do the work. And here is this remarkable community of practice we call Campus Compact that supports, challenges, and inspires us to do just that, to be called to a moment such as this. Before we continue with this morning's session, I want to offer special thanks to Michael Murray, who I hope is here, and the Arthur Vining Davis Foundation for their support, both of Campus Compact 25, but also of the Scaling Diversity Discourse Project, which you all have a wonderful brochure that has been put on your seat. I hope you'll read about it. The project, which aims to assist campuses in accessing effective and evidence-based bridge building, dialogue, and discourse tools, methods, and practices with the goal of increasing students' abilities to engage across difference, become effective participants in our democracy, and navigate the challenging issues of our time. Can we thank Michael and ABD for their wonderful support? And since we are here in Atlanta, as yesterday we honored the legacy of Martin Luther King Jr., I also want to celebrate the legacy of Jimmy and Rosalind Carter, whose commitment to community and civic engagement has inspired many of us, all of us, I would say. In fact, the Carters supported the work of many of us over the years through the Carter Center and its Campus Community Partnership Awards that recognized innovative collaborations across the country. We owe a great debt of gratitude to the Carters for their shining example of showing up, paying attention, and doing the work.